right now on 12 News at 10.
We have red flag warnings in effect for most of the state heading through the weekend. I'm tracking that high fire risk.
A former Buckeye officer is headed to trial, accused of using excessive force on handcuffed suspects. One of them was a pregnant woman.
I'm Chase Golightly in Ahwatukee, where a beloved tree that brought the community together was cut down and vandalized. How neighbors are reacting coming up.
12 News at 10 starts now.
Well, good evening. Tonight we're tracking a weather impact alert with a good chunk of the state bracing for windy, dry conditions. Thanks for joining us tonight for 12 News at 10. I'm Mark Curtis.
And I'm Kadiba Devine. First, let's get to meteorologist Lindsay Riley. And Lindsay, what kind of conditions are you looking at?
Well, the winds are really going to pick up Saturday and Sunday afternoons. They're not too bad out there right now, but we did have a breezy afternoon today. And when you compare today to tomorrow and Sunday, the next two will be windier than what we had out there today. Winds will generally blow from the southwest toward the northeast. And with the very low relative humidity that we have in place, we have red flag warnings as a result. And as you can see, all this area in pink here under the warning, which is the majority of the state, through 8 p.m. on Sunday. So high fire danger all this weekend. In addition to that, we of course have wind advisories for much of northern and western Arizona and even parts of Yavapai County. And that also goes until 8 p.m. on Sunday. In terms of wind gusts, we're talking 50-mile-per-hour gusts across a good portion of the state, including the White Mountains, northern Arizona around Flagstaff, and even western Arizona, Kingman, Lake Havasu City. You're looking at 50-mile-per-hour gusts this weekend. Here in the valley, 30-mile-per-hour gusts. Even though we're not in the warning, we still do have a high fire danger for the weekend. So we have two weather impact alert days ahead for the high fire danger. Wind speeds start to go down early next week. Mark?
All right, Linz, thanks. Within the past few hours, a new wildfire has started. It's burning in Gila County. The Steamboat Fire has torched about 400 acres northeast of Kearney, prompting some evacuations. A go advisory is in place for Lynx Ranch and Victory Ranch, while Dripping Springs and Troy Ranch remain under a set advisory to prepare to evacuate. Remember, in Arizona, they use a ready, set, go system. When you hear go, it's time to get out immediately. Set means be ready to leave at a moment's notice.
Meanwhile, as weather worsens, the pocket fire continues to grow north of Sedona. It has now burned over 1,500 acres, and at this point, it is not contained. Fire crews and local leaders hosted a community meeting last night in Flagstaff. Another meeting was planned for tomorrow in Sedona, but has been pushed to Monday as red flag conditions require fire managers to remain on the fire line.
Developing tonight, police shoot and kill a dog while responding to a call in North Phoenix. Officers got to the area near I-17 and Cactus just before 7 o'clock when they found a man who said he had been bitten by a dog.
Police found the dog, but they say the dog started charging at one of the officers. That's when police shot the dog. The man who was bitten was taken to the hospital with injuries. An investigation is now underway.
Phoenix police investigating a deadly shooting at an apartment complex today near 99th Avenue and Camelback. Officers responded just before 4 o'clock and found a man and a woman unresponsive with gunshot wounds.
Both died at the scene. We're still working to learn their identities and also what led up to the shooting.
Newly released video shows the moments leading to aggravated assault charges against a Buckeye police officer. Officer Kerry Carrico was indicted by a grand jury after two separate incidents involving people in custody. In one video, a pregnant woman can be seen being punched and roughed up by the officer.
I'm gonna take the fuck down. Knock it off. Do you understand me? You are here because you're an ass. Knock it off.
And in another video, Carrico is seen throwing a man into a police car, then later throwing him onto the ground outside of the car. The Internal Affairs report also includes some still images from security video showing the man being punched in the head during the booking. Earlier this week, Carrico pleaded not guilty to aggravated assault charges. Her trial date is set for November.
The man accused of murdering Mercedes Vega in 2023 has been sentenced to 14 years in prison for robbing her at at gunpoint years before her death. 30-year-old Cujo Young was found guilty last month. Prosecutors say he robbed Vega at gunpoint outside of her Phoenix apartment and then tried to rob another woman in Scottsdale just a few weeks later. Investigators believe that Young later killed Vega to keep her from testifying against him in that robbery case. 12 News spoke with her parents after court. They told us they believe the sentencing should have been longer, but they're thankful for the conviction.
Today is the first time that Cujo Young is going to face the consequences for something that he's done, and for that, I'm extremely grateful.
Young is still facing separate charges in Vega's case, including murder, kidnapping, arson, and theft, which will go to trial at a later date. In less than 12 hours, APS will cut power to thousands of people living in northern Arizona, including parts of East Flagstaff and the south and east rims of the canyon.
Dangerous fire conditions are forcing the utility to turn off the grid rather than risk sparking a wildfire.
12 News journalist Tiani Jadalang spoke with officials and Flagstaff residents about how they're preparing.
This is only the second time APS has called for this public safety power shutoff since the program started. It only happens when conditions become critical, and now local resources are preparing to help those left in the dark. These are the areas that will be affected by APS's planned power shutoff starting Saturday morning at around 10 a.m. The outage runs for customers as far north as the east and south rims of the Grand Canyon National Park and as far south for areas surrounding Flagstaff. Experts tell us the public safety power shutoff program was implemented just 3 years ago, and it's designed to keep residents safe.
Well, it's so important because there is an inherent risk of electrical infrastructure in areas that are at high wildfire risk. And we know that we have a part to play.
Now, the shutoff is set to remain in effect until Sunday. But for residents we spoke to, game plans have been put into play.
Just filling the bathtub with water, filling jugs with water so the dog has water. Eat everything in your refrigerator. No.
While some tell us they don't agree with the power shutoff.
I have lived here 60 years almost, and we've always had high winds.
Others prefer this preventative measure rather than having to leave their homes.
Been evacuated 3 times in the last 15 years, so we're tired of doing that. And there are other, if there's an easier way to do it, that's fine.
Friday morning, Coconino County activated its Emergency Operations Center. APS also opened water and ice stations at places like the Flagstaff Mall. The American Red Cross will host shelters in both Flagstaff and Grand Canyon Village for neighbors who can't stay home. Some businesses are testing their luck by bringing in generators to keep business flowing.
We're hoping to be able to keep the cafe open this time. Last time everything was shut down, but we're hoping that it'll be able to take care of all the refrigeration in the cafe part.
That's the case for Mary's Cafe in Flagstaff. While they understand the why behind the shutoff, they say this isn't cost effective.
We've got to do something. We can't just close every time that this happens, that APS says we got to shut you down. We can't afford to do that.
Both shelters and ice and water stations will remain open throughout the shutoff. Experts say reimbursements for ice can be offered, and that information can be found on APS's website. In Flagstaff, I'm Tiani Jadaling, 12 News.
All right, Tiani, thank you. Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs is defending taking credit for the state budget's $1.4 billion tax cut, despite the fact that she vetoed similar Republican-sponsored legislation. In an interview for this weekend's Sunday Square Off, Hobbs discussed her first 4 years in office and what she would do if reelected in November. And remember, you can catch this week's edition of Sunday Square Off on air and streaming Sunday morning at 8. So download the 12 News app for your TV right now, and you can watch for free.
New tonight, an Ahwatukee neighborhood is demanding answers after a beloved tree that brought the community together was vandalized overnight.
Neighbors tell 12 News journalist Chase Golightly they believed it was chopped down because it had flags on it for Pride Month.
He joins us live at the tree that once stood near Chandler Boulevard and Ray Road after speaking with neighbors about the case. Chase?
Mark, it was known as the Ahwatukee Giving Tree, and this is what it looks like now. You can make out where it was chopped down. Even some of the pride display that was on the tree still remains here under the branches. Now, the homeowner who decorates this multiple times a year for holidays and special occasions tells me it's already been vandalized twice this month, but she never thought they would take it this far. It may have just seemed like an ordinary Palo Verde tree, but to those living in this part of Ahwatukee, it's a staple of the neighborhood.
It's always a bright spot when we would take our dog, Jasper, for a walk every morning.
Known as the Giving Tree, for nearly 10 years, people walking along the trail would see it decorated for Christmas, Mardi Gras, Valentine's Day, pretty much any holiday or special occasion you can think of, the Giving Tree would celebrate it.
We had Easter eggs with trick-or-treats for dogs with treats in it. Back to school, there were pencils for the kids.
The homeowner responsible for the decorations asked us not to use her name.
And I like doing this anonymously so the children would be surprised to see it change.
Saying this labor of love was well worth it to bring the community together and enjoy a little color in their desert.
Trying to make it a joyful, visual, inclusive gift to anyone who walks by.
During all this time, it was never vandalized. That is until a few years ago when they started putting up pride flags in June.
Every time they were ripped down.
It happened twice already this year, having to put more flags back up. Then on Friday morning, when she went to check on the tree, she saw it was cut down.
Shocked that there's people that angry in our neighborhoods, that someone feels entitled to act this way and to be destructive.
That was just appalling. It's hard to believe that anybody in our neighborhood is that filled with hate that they think that that's something that they should be able to do.
However, they aren't letting this discourage them, saying they will continue the tradition with another tree nearby. And for the last few days of June, the pride flags will be back up.
I'm not intimidated by this. We have a message to share, and 99% of the people around here want to share it also.
Now, the homeowner told me that they did file a report with the Phoenix Police Department. I did reach out to the department for comment. I haven't heard back at this time. But they also told me since the Giving Tree was on public property and not private property, they don't know what's going to come out of this. We're live in Ahwatukee tonight. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, thank you. Well, a big change for Tempe's 4th of July celebration. The event is moving from Tempe Town Lake to Tempe Diablo Stadium.
The city says the shift comes after the production company backed out of this year's event. The celebration will still run 6 to 10 p.m. with fireworks going off at around 9 o'clock. Tickets dropped to $250 in honor of America's 250, and kids 5 and under get in free. Refunds will go out to those who had already purchased tickets.
And as the country prepares to mark a historic milestone, we are telling the story of the nation through the people who shape it every day.
Join us Monday night at 7 o'clock for a special broadcast, Red, White, and You, America's 250. It's a 1-hour special. It'll also be available to watch on the 12 News streaming app.